Connect channel. My name is Juliet Karanja. Welcome to part 2 of Understanding Mental Health. And in the first segment, we talked about what are some of the conceptions about mental health. When you think about mental health, what comes to your mind? And we looked about how it is that we can be able to understand the importance of not just illustrating mental health, but also defining mental health. We looked at how World Health Organization defines mental health and how the American Psychological Association has also defined mental health. But the most important thing in that part 1 that we underscored is that we all have a mental health state. And it can be in either positive or in a negative form. And the best way of looking at mental health is looking at it from a continuum where you are oscillating up and down, up being positive mental states and down being mental disorders where you're struggling. And we oscillate up and down as in a change, as we experience the environment, we experience our relations and experience others and experience ourselves. And so it's very important not to label, because we are all on that continuum. And so today we're going to be talking about what does it mean? What does it mean being mentally healthy? Being mentally healthy means being resilient. And we've had that word resilient mentioned over and over again. And being resilient is being able to cope with difficult times. And many other times, resilient has been associated with bouncing back from difficult times, coming back. But in this case, when you talk about mental health, it's not just about bouncing back. It's more than just bouncing back. It's about managing the particular difficult situations, as well as the responses of those difficult, the emotional responses of that particular difficult situation. So remember, it's a twofold. We must not look at resilience as just coming back, bouncing back to 100% previous normal. In resilience, you're talking about redefining the new normal. What does my new normal look like? And how do I process it? How do I manage that difficult situation? And how do I manage the responses to that particular difficult situation? And that's what it means to be resilient. We are in a particular season where our economies have been affected. We are thinking about how our children will be going back in September. In my context in Kenya, we're talking about how children are going back to Kenya. How would that look like? And there's a lot of thought that needs to go into that. Are we ready to take back our children? Do we have the resources to take back our children to school? Are our children educated and well, indoctrinated in the new normal? Can they adjust? Can they adapt? Can they be able to manage? Can they be able to, to accommodate what it means to be in this new season, in this new normal situation that we are in? And that is very, very important to understand. When one of the examples I can think about is we have had terror attacks in our country, unfortunately. And it has also redefined about security. Air travel and a lot about security checks have changed. But we have as human beings the propensity to be able to adjust. And we have adjusted. And we did adjust what it means to have new security checks, new security platforms where our safety and securities are concerned, because we have the enemy at the gates. And that is what we're talking about resilience. Adjusting, adapting, accommodating to the changed situations, the difficult situations, and managing the responses that are elicited or we experience or we will feel in those particular difficult situations. And I can imagine it is quite been a challenge to be home, working from home with children in the house and be able to manage. There's been power plays. All these are able to adjust and manage our responses to those difficult situations. That is actually what it means to have mental health, a healthy mental health, or to talk about mental health. That is what it means to be resilient. Feeling in control positive mental health, I feel in control. I am confident. I can be able to sit here and express and articulate my thoughts and my experiences and how I feel and how I conceptualize mental health. I feel confident. I feel I'm in control. Feelings of good about myself. I feel good about the self. My self-concept is good. I am okay with who I am. I can fit in my own shoes. I can wear my shoes. That is having a positive mental health. I am oscillating towards positive mental states. And that is part of being in that continuum. And I'm building, maintaining good relationships and healthy relationships. Right now, there's been a lot of violence and abuse that is taking place in our country. In my context, Kenya, that are children are going through a lot of abuse, and women and minorities are going through a lot of abuse during this particular season. Gender violence, rape, and other vices that are happening where women and children are concerned. And it is affecting our mental health. It's affecting our mental state. How then do we establish and maintain good relationships, healthy relationships with our spouses, with our children, with our neighbors, with our colleagues? How do we psychoeducate our children on healthy relationships? What are the boundaries? We sang a song, "These are my body parts that nobody should touch, nobody should see." It might look so mundane and trivial, but in essence, it talks about what are my boundaries in my relationships. Who comes and goes over are my boundaries porous? Are they permeable? How do I relate with peers? Do I have a positive aspect about myself? Do I have a positive internal locus of control? Can I evaluate myself positively against what is happening in the situation? How do I conceptualize how I am relevant in my environment? How I relate with myself, others, and the environment? These are some of the states or some of the things we can talk about when we're talking about a positive and a healthy mental health. And so it has to be you feel control, you have confidence, you feel good about yourself, you can be able to manage and express your emotions. Do our children know that it's okay for them to express their emotions? Do our adolescent young men and women know how to be able to express their emotions? They are feeling a lot of frustration and venting all these emotions up oscillates us towards the negative side of mental health. And we get into a place where we get into mental health issues and mental disorders, because we cannot or we do not have the capacity. We have not been given the permission. We have not been given an environment, a suitable environment, a comfortable environment to be able to express ourselves. Some of our communities do not believe that it is positive, it's healthy to talk about mental health. So how is it that I can express? You as a caregiver, as a husband, how do you express your emotions at home? You have been socialized to pent up and to keep bottling them up, that I cannot show weakness, I cannot show frustrations, I cannot show anger. That oscillates us towards a negative mental state, into mental disorders. And it's very, very important to be able to illustrate how mental health and building healthy relationships are correlated. So what happens when you don't feel any above or any of this good? You don't feel confident, you don't feel resilient, you don't have the competencies and the ability to to be able to maintain and to adjust, to adapt, to manage the situations, to manage your emotions, and to be able to manage your responses. You're not feeling that you have built good relationships. You feel you cannot express, you don't have the environment. And you're feeling such as, feeling stressful, you're feeling sad, you're feeling angry, you're feeling worried, you're feeling anxious, you're a parent, you're worried, you're fearful, you have uncertainty, you do not know what is going to happen, fear of the unknown, fear of the future, what does it feel, what does it look like, and all these emotions. And it's okay to have all these emotions. It's okay to have these emotions. But the only challenge comes when we start having emotions that are extended for too long, and they begin to affect our everyday functioning, our daily functioning. that becomes a red flag. It becomes a red flag. And we must be able to manage our emotions. We must be able to feel good about ourselves. We must be able to be resilient. We must feel all these expressions and express them positively. How do we channel all these emotions that we feel? What should we do when we have all these feelings? You say all these feelings I'm feeling when I don't feel good, when I don't feel excited and fulfilled about life. You say they are normal. Yes, they are normal emotions that we experience as being part of human. The challenge comes when they begin to interfere with our everyday life. And so I'd like us to join in our next segment. And what we're going to be talking about is there hope? How do I manage these sad feelings? How do I go about coming out of these sad feelings? What do I do when my mental health is oscillating towards mental disorders? Join us in our next segment. We're going to be talking much more. Thank you. It was glad to have you on POTT Connect.